Welcome in, everybody. We're back tonight. NBA slate. We got 5 games. It's March Madness tip-off tonight. I got, for me, Philadelphia. I got Nova Nation. Can't wait. It's going to be a really, really fun night. Last night, a lot of interesting things happened. A lot of interesting things happened today already. A lot of injuries were already, and a lot of inactives came out early. When you talk about Giannis and you talk about Middleton from Milwaukee. So a lot of different things going on. As always, Tony, Ghost, Adam, you got us here. Follow at Win Daily Sports on all social formats. Make sure you're checking us out. Smash the subscription button. Smash the like button. You know the deal. You don't have to say. Make sure you read the article every 10 a.m. every morning that drops on WinDailySports.com. Boys, 5 games tonight, 7:30 lock. Only one game. Kind of spread out slate. We had a decent night overall last night. Adam, I know you went 3 for 3. So that was good. I'm still trying to bang out Terry Rozier to give me one more damn 3. It didn't happen. And, I got to say, I got to tell everybody my story. One of those frustrating things. I go to bed last night. I'm up late. I'm watching the Sixers game, and I do a Sixers post-game show. So I didn't really look at the points after, the fourth quarter, and I was playing tiers, and I was in first place. I was like, I'm good. I'm sold, man. I thought I was bringing home a win in second. And I started, dissecting all my information for the post game. I go to bed, I wake up, and I lost because the dude had him beaten. I never even knew it. So unbelievable. Lost by 1 point to get that big number, but it's okay. We're back at it again. Adam, number one, 5 games tonight. I mean, where you attacking? We'll bring up the cores in a minute, but any new breaking news that came up right now? Are we still waiting for Toronto, right?
No, the last kind of piece of the puzzle that we need is Toronto. It has turned into a very kind of oddball slate, and this is going to be kind of the name of the game here coming down to the end of the stretch in the NBA season, because you're going to have a few teams every slate that have to put their best foot forward. They need wins for playoff seeding or to try and get a playing game like we see tonight, or you're going to have teams like the Memphis Grizzlies who are pretty much about where they're at for the season. They might be able to move up or hold on to that 2 seed, but they have no real shot at the 1, and they're playing the B squad tonight. You see the Bucks playing a lot of their B squad tonight. If this is frustrating to you, I got some bad news for you over the next couple weeks, because this is going to be the normal. I'm just telling you right now.
Welcome to the NBA at the end of the year.
At the very end of the year, because this is the name of the game. You're going to be playing guys that you never heard of 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and that's why, again, that's why the 3 of us are here. That's why you're watching this. That's why we're listening and we're following. I mean, Ghost is looking right now. Adam's looking right now. We got people commenting as well, looking at what's going on. You never know, man, at the last minute. But let me ask you guys something before we get the cores. I want to get, especially Ghost, I know we've talked about him before. I'm going to get your opinion on the whole Jimmy Butler thing last night. Because I love Jimmy Buckets. I get it. I know he's hard to deal with. Listen. Everybody nicknamed me Jigsaw for a reason. I'm tough to deal with, too, so I kind of feel with them a little bit. What you all think of that going into the playoffs, because that's your number one guy. I mean, you got the coach calling you out. You want to fight the coach. It's crazy, man. What you think of that last night?
Fires me up. The guy wants to win. They're getting waxed by a Golden State team that doesn't have Curry or Clay on the court. That's what it is. That's if he's on the bench laughing, people would be making a story about that, too.
That's
what it is. If someone saw him on the bench, just casually doing his thing, whatever, talking about the restaurant of the night, they would say, "Oh, they're Miami Heat aren't serious. They're a bunch of jokesters. They're getting waxed by the Golden State Warriors with no Curry and no Clay," and they would make a story out of that. It fires me up. The guy wants to win.
I love it because, listen, I just dealt with this in Philly, right? James Harden, we got spanked by Brooklyn, and everybody was bitching that James Harden was out at the club that night. Again, so you can't have it both ways. What do you want? You want a guy that's fire and up in your face, or you want a guy that's not? Like you said, the perception goes, you know it. Adam knows it. I know it. You all know it, that if he'd be getting a Sports Center model after him saying, "Oh, look, Jimmy Butler really doesn't care about this game. Look at him. He's nonchalant. He's lackadaisical." I love the fire. Adam, you see anything wrong with what he did last night?
I put it in Discord, but, color me shocked that Jimmy Butler can't get along with people. It's not like this is exactly breaking news here. I'm with you guys to a point. I think there's a line where, he should probably chill out on Spoelstra. I mean, this is one of the better coaches in the NBA. Some of it seemed like it may have, been a little bit personal. Like people saying he was going to try and fight Eric Spoelstra. that part of it's kind of ridiculous. But for the most part, yeah, I'd much rather see that than, him checking his stats on the bench like we've seen other guys do. I'd much rather see that as a if I was a Heat fan than, going out to the strip club after getting waxed by the Warriors, who are down their 3 best players. So I think it's a little bit of both. Is it overblown? Yes. Did Butler probably not need to say some of the things he apparently said?
Wow.
Probably. But listen, all I know is I wouldn't want to fight Udonis Haslem. I don't care how old that man is. I'm not looking to swing with him.
Yeah, man. I if you look at the comments, whether they're right or wrong, and Jimmy basically was going at Udo as well. So I don't know, man. I like that fire. I think it fires the team up. I get it though. There is a point, but it almost seemed like Spoelstra though. I mean, as a coach, don't you have to be able to control yourself too? I mean, this is a player. I mean, I understand that they're grown men. I mean, I coach youth basketball. I coach youth soccer. And I can tell you what, my kids are 15, 14 years old. Eventually, I'm the guy, right? Even if they want to get cocky with me, I'm the one that's supposed to cooler head prevail. I know that's funny, but it's the truth, though. I think Spoelstra got a little out of hand as well. So we'll see
That
what
leads
happens.
me to think this is far from the first time it's happened. This might be just
Yes.
the first time it's happened in front of cameras that everyone can see. Because there was definitely some frustration from Spoelstra too. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to get it after the season. Whenever Miami season is over, you're probably going to hear a lot more drama before it's all said and done.
Keith says I'd pay to see that fight over any Paul fight. I'm with you there, 100%.
If you pay for a Jay or for a Paul fight, that's your own problem.
Exactly.
Lighting your money on fire.
Can't say that stuff for the locker room and do it again.
It's easier said than done, man. I've been in those. Like I'm telling you guys, as a player, you get to a really high level, man, and everybody around you is an elite athlete, and it just sometimes your emotion gets the best of you, and it's what it is, man. You're getting right. I could tell you right now, but like I want to say back in the days, if it was a long time ago, I'm literally just turned 25. It really wasn't that long ago, but
yeah, be quiet over there.
When the like we'd be in tough versus one of the last place teams, and things get heated on the bench between the boys, man. Like it's what it is. Like I'm sorry, but the example that I was kind of referring to there was when the Lakers are getting waxed by I don't know who. They just get waxed by everybody this year. But
take your pick.
And LeBron checking his stats on the bench somehow turns into look how bad. Like, what does that have to do with how bad Russell Westbrook was playing, bro? LeBron's checking his stats. Like, but and if Butler was doing that, it would be the complete opposite. Like, you can't. They'll make a story out of what they make it out of, and obviously it was a hot mic there too, and it's like it's what it is. But bro, it fired me up, man. Like to see them pissed that they're losing that game, it goes to show that they're looking to win down the stretch, and they're probably going to sit out a lot of guys tomorrow too, just to get things right in that locker room. And I would not want to play the Miami Heat right now, that's for sure, because they're. I mean, Jimmy's going to take this team on his back, just like he did in the bowl. Like people forget that too. Like I get it. LeBron got his first ring in LA, and Anthony Davis got his first ring, and it was great to see the Lakers win and this and that, other than Lakers fans just being Lakers fans. But that's what it is, man. Like things get heated, and Jimmy's one of the realest in the league, and you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. Don't play with a guy like Jimmy Butler if you're expecting sunshine and rainbows every single night, because it's not what it is. He'll call you out just like he always gives it his all, and people end up saying like, hey, they still not getting in the Eastern Conference Final. How are they not getting in the Eastern Conference Final? Who's beating Miami? Who's beating Miami in round 2?
To their credit, everyone said the right thing after the game. So I think it's one of those things where it's dead and buried at this point.
Yeah,
everyone else
was laughing, saying that Buckets wanted a different restaurant than him. You know what I mean? Like it's
I didn't see that part of it.
Like right, like Spo literally said, yeah, we were arguing about what restaurant we wanted to go to, and things got heated. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just that's what it is when you're in a winning organization. Like do you see teams like Orlando doing that? Nah, you got Cole Anthony trying to flex his muscles as if they're not contending for the first overall pick for the 10th year in a row. Like I'd much rather be on the Celtics are the big. Oh my God, I heard people saying the Celtics are the best team in the East, and I almost spat out my water.
Everybody's
That, like,
rolling with the Celts now, man. They're
bro,
jumping on that wagon, bro. I'm telling you, they're jumping on a wagon.
There's a difference between riding the hot hand and just taking things way too far, man. They still don't have a ball handler. They still don't, like, bro, the playoffs are a different beast, man. It would not surprise me in the least if the playoffs ended today and we didn't have none of this play-ins, that whatever. We just take the top 8 seeds. Boston might lose to Chicago in the first round. Like, would it really surprise you to say that the Chicago Bulls beat Boston in the first round? Would that be
surprise me? No, but
that
I'd still take Boston.
No, I know. But again, like, it's just, would it surprise you to say
surprise
that
me? No,
Chicago,
but
exactly.
Listen, I'm not saying.
You're saying Boston's gonna walk over Miami in the first round, bro. If they take Tatum out of a game, they have. I'm sorry, JB can't put a team on his back. He cannot do that. And then who are you relying on?
Boston's the best team in the East, but they're playing like one right this second. And the defense will stand out in the playoffs if they can keep that going. So I'd take them over Chicago. Would I be surprised if I was wrong? No, I wouldn't be shocked.
That's just what, like, Boston being like, everyone's so high on Boston. I get the way that they're playing since the calendar year. I don't even want to say since All-Star break, since the calendar year.
Yeah, it's been since January, really.
But it's just like the playoffs are a different beast, man. And Boston does this every year, whether they're a 7 seed, whether they're a 4 seed, whether they're whatever. How did Toronto get into this, bro? You sound like a media member making Jimmy Butler out to be the next LeBron. Like, that's the exact example of what I just gave. You can't swerve into that. Toronto was not mentioned in the last 12 minutes. Like, I know Toronto's getting bounced by the first round. They should get bounced in the first round. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year.
I was going to say they weren't even supposed to make the playoffs this year.
This was supposed to be a rebuilding year. They were talking about shopping Pascal and everything, and now they're say what you want about Brooklyn, Kyrie not playing, Harden getting traded, this, that. Harden got traded like yesterday, and Toronto's ahead of them. That's 100%. What it is. It's what it is. So
Toronto's a pain to play against, man. They show up every single night.
If Toronto wins tonight, they're not even in the playing round. They're
right.
They're really underrated defensive team, like Go said. I could tell you that. Ever since he said that, I watched the last couple games, and I watched them against Philly, and they're very good. Every single
guy on the roster is 6'6" or taller and has the wingspan of a dragon.
Like Boucher, I couldn't believe how big Boucher. Like, I was like, what? Where is this cat coming from?
Try to be at the top of the key with Scotty Barnes in your grill, and you tell me you could drive to the basket. You can't.
I mean, it does help that they literally don't play any member of their bench, but they're still a.
But that's what the playoffs are. They just play playoff schedule, right? 82 games.
82 games. They're a very difficult team to play against. Even like they have their shortcomings offensively, sure, but you're getting their best every single time down the floor, man. It wears you down.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, I watched it, so it's going to be interesting. Like I said, with these last few weeks of the NBA, going to be really interesting to see who sits, who gets in. Let's get right to it. Let's get some cores. We had some really good cores last night. Let's see if we can get to the same thing tonight. Ghost, we'll go with you first. Tyus again, FVV, Lavine, Portis, man, and somebody, a little bit of everybody there, man. I like it.
Yeah, so Tyus is the lock. I'm just gonna leave it at that. That's what it is. Like,
if you're not playing Tyus tonight, I don't know.
3,400. Wait,
overthink
what's his number now?
4,300. He's 43, and on Yahoo, he's literally minimum price still. He's $10.
That's ridiculous.
So, like, don't overthink it. That's
what it is. Shooting guard is a real dilemma for me tonight. And then I went from none to having like a potential of 3 of them in my lineup. So I'm playing Fred 100% of the way. We were talking about that off air just before. There's no way I'm not playing Fred tonight. And Lavine, it's going to be between Lavine and Vooch for me right now. I'm really trying to get Vooch and Joker double center. Double center is going to be the Stones tonight. And I really want to get Vooch over Lavine, but that $200 is being a real pain for me right now. So Lavine's up there. If I could figure out a way to get Vooch, it is 100% Vooch and Joker combo. And amongst all the Milwaukee chaos, man, like I get the love for Brook Lopez. Obviously, we're talking about Jrue Holiday, people going to Pat Connaughton for value and this and that. If this was any other slate, Bobby Portis would be 99% rostered. And yeah, it's high. It's not as high as it should be. So I'm going right to Bobby Portis in the mid-range, 6,500. Bobby Portis makes absolutely no sense, and he fills that absolutely terrible power forward spot perfectly for me tonight. So I'm gonna try and go 3 centers with Joker, Portis, and Vooch out there. Portis being power forward eligible. That's likely what I'm gonna end up doing. If I can't, then because I know it's only $200 on DK, it's causing me some serious problems with my last guy in. So right now it's Lavine. If I could get Vooch in there, I'm going Vooch over Lavine.
And again, this is if you want to go triple center, 5-game slate tonight's the way to do it, right? When Giannis isn't in. So that'd be really, really interesting. Adam, right away, you got your boy, man. You got the Joker up there up top. I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 5-game slate. Like at some point, even with all the good plays, we're still in a small enough slate that I think raw points are going to matter. Ghost, you have him projected for over 15 points higher than any other player on this slate, than anybody else. Like his range of outcomes is just
even more than Justin Anderson.
Even more than Justin Anderson, surprisingly.
Justin Anderson.
It's going to be he's going to be a legend tonight. Justin Anderson.
Justin Anderson's going to be top 10 in the slate in scoring. Watch.
But yeah, like you have the Nuggets who have to win against a Suns team that played last night that realistically has very little motivation at this point past getting Chris Paul into shape, playing good basketball heading into the playoffs. Denver needs this win. Jokic is the only player worth that salary tonight. And really, we haven't seen very many slates where he's under 12. He's 11-4. He's not even expensive for Jokic tonight, let alone with everything else that has opened up during the day. So it's just really, really difficult to pass on him. Drew Holiday, man, it's tough because, like you said, I'm really torn between Drew, Lavine, and Fred VanVleet with Gary Trent being out. I was hoping Trent played. I'm still kind of hopeful OG Anunoby plays because if there's no restrictions there, he's too cheap. That would be my one Raptor. I'm trying to work a Cavalier in. I don't know. With everything that's happened today, a Cavalier might fall out because there's just so many good spots. It's tough. I definitely want at least one Raptor, though, in that game because I said in the article, this game is for the 6th seed right now in the Eastern Conference. That means you're out of the play-in. You still don't have a favorable draw on the top end. You're still going to have to deal with Miami or Milwaukee or Philly. Doesn't matter. You're guaranteed a playoff series at that point. This is a huge game. These Raptors are not coming off the floor tonight. They don't come off the floor on a good day, let alone trying to fight for the 6th seed.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very good game. A lot of points scored, obviously. A lot of good plays. The Jokic point is great. I mean, that is, he's not in my core. I'm not saying I'm fading him. But again, 15 points higher than the next top player. That's a huge number. And like you said, under 12 grand. I mean, It's all about price point. It's not like it even hinders you, right?
No. And I should have looked at this, but I would bet the amount of times he's been under 12K after the first week of the season has been maybe 6 or 7 times. It has just not happened very often.
Yeah, I can't remember. He's always been above 12K. Now, actually, 2 of the last 4 games, he was under 12. 11-5 against Cleveland, 11-9 against Washington. So, but still, no 11-4. He hasn't been I'm just going to go back for everybody right now. He has not been 11-4.
And there's one on the 10th. He was 11-2. That was a 2-game slate. Everybody was knocked down by a grand because it was Jokic, Harden, Embiid, Curry were all at the top. And it was the night that the Sixers played the Nets. So you had Kyrie, KD, you had every single stud on the slate that was knocked down by at least $1,000 because otherwise you wouldn't be able to build a lineup.
and besides that, it was against Miami in November, and he was in November. Right. So,
11-4, all the value you could possibly want. He's the only guy that is projected to score like that. Come on, got to play.
Yeah, exactly. I think again, I'm gonna do multiple lineups. Obviously, everybody does multiple lineups. So, but yeah, he's definitely got to be in there for sure. So everybody's a little different, and I go a little jigsaw crazy, but you're going to see some of the same guys in here. I like FEV. Obviously, he was right in there. Love you got to play Tyus. I get it. Tonight for me, and you're going to see some props for profit. It's a Porzingis and it's a CJ McCollum night. Listen, again, Porzingis has been absolutely going off these last few games. So if you look, and again, he's going up against the Milwaukee team that does not have Giannis. Now, again, that's a big hole. That's a big hole. And he just dropped 57 DK. I know it was against Houston. I get it. But if you look at what he's been able to do, it's coming out of Washington. He's slowly but surely, not only is he scoring more points, but he's playing more minutes, right? So he's starting to get stronger. He's starting to play more minutes. 32 minutes last game against Houston, 26 before that, but then 29 before that. So he's averaging around 28, 29. So I really like him tonight, double territory to lead in that area in that game. And then when you go to Pat Connaughton, this is my pivot to everybody starting all the other Milwaukee Bucks, right? So Connaughton has been eerily consistent the last two games at 26 DK points. Consistently 26 DK points the last two, and that's with Giannis. So tonight, he gets that minutes bump to 25 or 30, in my opinion, without Giannis and without Middleton. Obviously, this is more towards the Middleton factor, right? So now he get a 30-plus point night for me for Pat Connaughton, which is why he's in the core for me. So again, everybody does different things. This is a 5 people for me. I still have a lot of money left to mess around with, but one of the Jokic lines will definitely be in play because 11-4 is just too much. I got some questions in here. We'll get to them before we get some props for profit. We got Tone Checker says he's got Jones, Lavine. I forget Terry, the infamous Terry Taylor. There's the Justin Anderson Vucevic play. There he is, Justin Anderson, the legend of the night, Justin Anderson. He also asked, "What about Vuce and Val at double center?" I think we did talk about that, right? Are we doing that or no? What do you think, Goes? I got a head shake there. No way, right?
You can't. If one of them's going off, the other. How could they both be going off against each other? Can't do that.
It's going to be a hard path for them to both hit, especially because Joe Wall is now over 8K. Like, if anything, just play Vooch at under 8K. Valanciunas can do it at 82, but he's like, if he's getting the rebounds needed to hit his, the likelihood of Vooch getting his is, falls every rebound Valanciunas grabs.
Yeah, that's tough to do when you're talking about in the paint. It's a little different when you're talking about shooting guards or point guards because they run around the court all over the different places and going up against each other. So, but when you're talking about in the paint, very, very hard to do. B checking in. Are we sleeping on? Nah, listen, Ghost. You just mentioned more. You just mentioned right?
It's what like. I'm not saying Brian you're doing this, but the field in general, like they're really overthinking this whole Bucks thing where it's like. Bro, you play Portis, Drew, and then maybe one of the values. Like that's it. It's these guys are still not elite offensive producers. Like there's so many other spots too. Like you can't be just loading up on other guys. And realistically with Nora, like the Bucks are ramping up for playoffs too, right? Like the Nora days where he's playing 36 minutes in a random back-to-back in December are gone. Like he'll get some run tonight for sure, but it's going to be Pat over him. It's more important for them to get Brook Lopez back into game shape than it is to give Jordan Nora 36 minutes to possibly win a game in March. Like it's a good point. It just doesn't make sense. It's more about getting their guys into game shape and seeing what kind of offenses they can roll. Like tonight's the perfect example where, yes, okay, it kind of confuses things a little bit because Middleton's out, but this is kind of their look to see what the offense looks like with Giannis out. These are the guys that they're going to have on the court. It's going to be Brook Lopez. It's going to be Jrue Holiday. It's going to be Connaughton often coming in for Giannis. And like they need to see what that offense looks like, right? And Grayson Allen's also playing for minutes right now. If this guy wants minutes down the clutch, down the stretch in the playoffs, he's got to show up tonight too. So all these guys are going to get run before Nora.
Yeah, and really, the Bucks have to kind of straighten out their defense, man. They've been outside the top 10 defensively for a lot of the season, and Brook Lopez is a big part of their defense. Like, he's not very well like a big fantasy guy. He's important on the court to that team. They need to get him back in full shape. So
Yeah, it's a great point about Brook Lopez, and again, it just goes back to the very beginning of our show, right? When we talked about how interesting these last couple weeks are going to be because of the playoff runs, because of positioning in standings, and getting guys into shape, and guys coming off rehab and injury. So these are all the storylines you got to pay attention to because they're very, very important. And real fast before we move on to props for profit, B, listen. I promise you, I get it. I know. Sometimes you got to go against the grain, hence the name Jigsaw, right? We just watched the Warriors with everybody get beat by Orlando and then come back with nobody and beat Miami. Certain things happen at certain times, and I just got a Jigsaw feeling tonight. That's it. A Jigsaw feeling about CJ, so that's why I'm in with him. So let's go into some props for profit. Obviously, hashtag props for profit. I think we go real quick. FFVP. We talked about. Listen, Justin Anderson. I think I threw him in there because that was the consensus at 3,000. For me, I like JaVale McGee tonight specifically because Ayton played so many minutes last night. And again, when you look at this game, I just think that this could be a game where for Phoenix off the back-to-back, that you can see McGee play a little more minutes, in Denver and get some more production for that 3,800. But again, there's a lot of people out there. You go so many different directions when we talk about value. But for me, that's a guy I'm looking at. And obviously the consensus with the legend of Justin Anderson that we might be talking about for the next week.
dude, that solved so much on that update, Ghost. I'm so happy. I was having so many issues the last couple people. Stone cold minimum Justin Anderson is the savior tonight.
Play and pray.
Right, I like that. So let's get some props. Adam, we got to start off with you, man. My man was 3 for 3 last night. So I got to start right off for you. And again, you're going right to the Tyus factor. You don't have to talk much about it, but plus money for the dimes and that. How can you not take that?
Yeah, I mean, I understand he's missing some offensive guys. I don't think it's going to matter. He's going to be on the court enough. He had 10 last night. 8's a big number, but a plus 105, I'm more than happy to take it. It might not be 350 like Kyrie last night, but whatever. It's still plus money.
Hell yeah.
I still really like that bet. I was surprised to see it at plus money. I mean, Indiana, they're just not good defensively right now, man. Brogdon's out again. They can't stop anybody, so I don't think the loss of Brooks and Ja are going to have such an effect that he can't still dish the rock.
I like it. Yeah, definitely. And you talked about Lavine earlier. I mean, this is a solid number here. 36.5 for the PRA over. That's a pretty low number. I like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, with DeRozan and Lonzo off the floor this year, you're looking at a 34.3% usage rate. The assist rate jumps to 26.8%, 1.33 fantasy points per minute. He's going to play 30, 32, probably a little bit more than that. It's basically, fantasy point per minute, which he's well over.
And again, these are, you hear those statistics. I'm not going to say it's like beat a drum, but this is why you read the article that drops, the Gems article that drops every day on WinDailySports.com. And Adam, you stole this from me. I love it. Right? No, seriously, I seen this and I was like, what? It was just, to me, it was like a stone cold in your face. You got to play this. No brainer.
Yeah, I was stunned at plus 150, and the second I saw it, I'm like, I'm taking it before they change the odds on me.
Yeah,
I mean, look, he hasn't played much, but like we said, they got to get Brook Lopez back in shape. So far, since he's come back, he's taken 3, 2, 4 attempts. He's hit 2 in the last game. There's going to be even more shots to go around. No Giannis tonight. No Middleton. Even if he inches up towards the 26-minute mark against Washington, that bad of a defense, he's hitting 2 tonight.
He gets trigger happy from 3, man.
He does, especially when there's not really guys in that offense to challenge him for shots. What's the hierarchy tonight? It's going to be Drew Holiday, Portis. I mean, Brook Lopez is probably next in line when he's got the ball. So I bet he attempts at least 6.
It's crazy, man. It is. It's absolutely crazy. I every time I feel like I watch a Lopez game that he's just popping up threes, man. Like I don't know what it is, man. He loves standing outside on that perimeter and dropping some threes.
I also don't really mind the ladder for that. If you want to take it up to 3, if you really want to get risky, you can go 4. But I mean, I'm talking like half a pizza money bet on 4. But you can do the 1, 2, 3 ladder for Brook Lopez and probably have a pretty solid night.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, a ladder work for Kyrie last night, right? So
absolutely,
big time, man. A lot of people were hitting on Kyrie, which was nice. So it goes a little bit. I had a little Jeff Green action for everybody. So I like this. It's only 1+3. He's only got to hit 1. He's shooting 75% over the last 2 games. Again, this is a Denver team that's going up against Phoenix, who they fought hard in that game, and they played a hard fought battle, and it's a back-to-back. And so many things going in this factor. His percentage is high over the last 2 games. I really feel like it's really not that much of a stretch for my man Jeff to get 1 3-pointer. He's hit this over the last 2. Like I said, he's 4 attempts. I think tonight, even if he gets 2 or 3, I'm very confident that he gets 1. And then I'm going, I say this a lot, I'm going jigsaw crazy here. I'm on CJ tonight. Now, look at this number. So I did some digging for everybody on why I like this, right? It's a huge plus 1,500 bet. Okay, this is what he's doing over the past 7 games. He averages 26 points, 5.5 boards, and 7.5 assists. So you're looking at 6 and 8 that are mostly, obviously, to me, a given tonight. The sweat will be the points. He's only hit 30 once in the past 7. So again, but he's been close. So again, for plus 1,500, these are these bets that I look at. I'm like, hey, if you get a little lean here or a little lean there against Chicago, maybe this could happen. So again, and I told you the other guy was Porzingis. I love the 20 and 10 bet at plus 380. Okay, again, and just look at Porzingis's numbers. Okay, like we talked about. I don't think this is very attainable. Very attainable. Okay, 22, 27, 18, 16, 25. He's been in double-digit rebounds 2 out of the last 5, but he's hit 8 and 7 out of those other 2 that he missed. So he's very, very close. And again, how many times we have to say it? No Giannis in the paint. Okay, so I think there's going to be extra board for him to grab. So I think this is good. And if you want to go a little lower and more and get the double action for plus 165, if you don't think he's going to hit the 20 points, I think the rebounds are solid. I think that's a pretty good bet as well. Ghost going right to FVV. I like it. Over 6.5 times at plus 115. I'm shocked that number's that high.
Oh, it just makes no sense. It's I'm sure it's gonna plummet down now that Gary Trent got confirmed. It's just way too low. That's what it is.
It's simple as that. Way too low. And then we're going Vooch. Wow, that 31.5 number's low too.
Yeah. It's this is usually around the number that he has with DDR in, and it's not going to be DDR shooting the mid-range on the 23.5 seconds of every single shot clock now. It's Lavine pushing the pace. It's Caruso flying up and down the court, and Vooch can run with them. Expect a lot of threes too to try and get Jovel to go out of the paint and try and chase him on the perimeter. It's going to be a good game tonight, and Vooch is going to have his way. That's for sure. 31.5 points plus rebounds, just way too low.
Way too low. Both the ghost bets way too low. But again, listen, we're gonna wrap this up. 33 minutes, got a lot of questions. No more came in. If there's any more you want to get in, hurry up and get in before we go. If not, be in Discord, obviously on Twitter at Win Daily Sports, on all social formats. Make sure you're following us here every single night. Enjoy March Madness. Enjoy making some profit tonight. For Tony, for Adam, for Nick, as always, we appreciate the support. Appreciate you tuning in. Everybody, good luck. And we'll catch you back here tomorrow night.